Thank you so much for coming to check out the video today, and this is A Father's Hope. I'm Jonathan, and if this is your first time here, well, this video channel is specifically meant for people who have gone through a loss, and that's a loss of a baby, infant, having a miscarriage, whatever that might be. This channel is specifically meant for you, and it's meant to be an encouragement. It's meant to possibly talk about some topics maybe that you're struggling with, and anything that I can do as having been through losing my daughter Caitlin, to just really give you some information that hopefully helps you. And if nothing else, I just hope you find some comfort just watching these videos and this channel as well too. So the topic for this video today is one that I get quite frequently from comments, just saying, I really feel like disconnecting from everything, everyone. I don't want to really be in any kind of sense of reality. And I think that is such a natural tendency when we go through something really hard, something so difficult as losing a child, that we really want to just go inward. We want to kind of push everything else away. And what we're going to talk about today really is, my video hopefully today is going to go over these things, is to talk about the different ways that we disconnect, some possible dangers with that, but then maybe some small steps we can make so that we don't completely just disconnect from everything. And I hope this specific topic can help you today. So when we talk about disconnecting from things, I think there's a few certain things that we can really talk about. And the first is disconnection with specific relationships. Now that can be disconnecting from your spouse, so a wife from her husband from her wife, because they might be experiencing different emotions. A wife might be going through the physical things of a pregnancy, plus the emotional, and then the husband might just be having to deal with the emotional. So you have kind of a gap there with what one partner's going through versus the other. So you can feel disconnected because you don't feel that your spouse maybe is relating to you. So that's one way in relationships. But then with other relationships, maybe with family or friends, that you might specifically say, you don't really understand what I'm going through. You've never lost a baby, lost a child. I don't want to tell you what I'm going through because it hurts too much. And family and friends really try to help and be there, but it can be difficult when we feel that they might not understand quite as much as having actually gone through it. And honestly, I think sometimes we disconnect from people that also maybe have little ones, little babies, or maybe just had someone born, and that's not because we're mad at them. It's more because we're just maybe bitter, feeling maybe a little jealous, just because why can't I have that? And you might distance yourself from those kind of people because maybe it just hurts too much, and maybe the very sight of it just really brings up all these emotions, so you just choose to disconnect from that type of stuff. Well, specifically, those are ways we disconnect from relationships, but then we also might disconnect from just basically normal activities. So just think of stuff that you do during the day that maybe don't really seem like stuff you want to do anymore, and it could be as simple as getting a cup of coffee, or going on a date with your spouse, or those little things, maybe going to a grocery store, even getting up to shower, brush your teeth. And I think we disconnect from those because sometimes we feel like, what's the point? I don't feel in my heart that I need to be or deserve to be happy or joyful just because everything that's been going on. And I think we try to distance ourselves from these activities maybe that are just kind of mundane, and they remind us maybe of things that were, but they aren't anymore, so we don't even want to do anything about those. So we kind of push those away and go inward. And specifically with, disconnecting too, I think not just with relationships, not with normal activities, but I think we try to disconnect, also sometimes from just emotions in general. Is if you don't want to feel the pain, you don't want to feel the hurt that you've gone through, so you maybe find ways to just completely close down. You disconnect from emotionally from everyone around you, from even wanting to feel anymore, just because you really just don't want to go through the same type of roller coaster that you just went through. And all those things I just mentioned are perfectly normal. I feel that a lot of people go through those things, and I think that's a natural part of the grieving process. And I know I experienced some of those things as well too, but the words of encouragement that I want to give you today, and kind of some dangers to avoid that, is when we do that and disconnect, while it might be valid and we might in our head and our heart just feel like disconnecting, what can happen is, I believe that God designed us to connect with other people, to really have those relationships that build us up, that really make us feel like human beings, I guess you could say. And when we choose to neglect those, when we choose not to talk about our feelings, when we choose to really just go inward and close off from everyone, well, then we can spiral into worse things, that depression, a grief that we can't really get ourselves out of. So what I encourage, when we try to distance ourselves from that, is just talk about things in a very small way. Take those small steps. As I say, communicate with your spouse. Try to explain to them what you're feeling right in this moment, what you're going through. Say, you might not understand what I'm feeling right now, but here's how it is, and lay it all on the table. And communication is going to bridge that gap. And when you're able to talk about your feelings, when you're able to get that out in the open, man, there's such like a relief of that, and it really just makes your heart not feel as burdened. And there's someone to come alongside you. There's someone that's able to really help strengthen you and build you up. And so, because men and women are so different in these aspects, just being a father and a husband, just knowing that a lot of the stuff that men can pour themselves into is maybe projects, or they can compartmentalize and say, okay, well, I feel this now, so I'm going to work on this so I can get this thing done. Well, his wife might not understand that and say, why are you okay? Why are you able to get through this and I'm not? Why are you able to shut your mind off? And I think if the spouses come together and just really say, this is how I am handling grief, this is how I'm handling grief, it doesn't look the same for each one of us, but help me to understand what you're going through. And when your partner knows that you're invested, when you care, when your heart is fully theirs and you're connected as one, man, a lot of stuff can really just draw you closer. And I think that's what you want to happen through something like this, is not to draw further apart, but to really know that your relationship means something, that it's more than just words, that it's truly there to stay. And when you have that communication with your partner, it's huge. So I just really encourage you to do that. But then also, I think one way the dangers of disconnecting from normal activities and stuff like that is, then we kind of get in this pattern of not wanting to try and fearful maybe of just getting up in the morning. And we don't want to lose that sense of purpose in our life. And I know that you've been through something so difficult, and trust me, I know the emotions that can come with that. But what I would encourage you to do is just do some small things, like go get a cup of coffee. Maybe if there's a friend, you don't even have to talk necessarily about what you're going through, but if you want to, that's fine. But if it's just to get your mind off of things, and maybe just to enjoy like 30 minutes, an hour, just doing some normal activities, going to the grocery store. I encourage you to go on a date, just maybe if it's a walk, just enjoy the beauty around you and the sunshine and those things that maybe that we take for granted every day, but just to really look at those things and say, oh man, I just need to get out for 15 minutes and take a walk. And trust me, when you do that, I think you'll find almost a refreshment and just a renewed energy for some of those things. And when you start doing more of those things, you'll get more in a routine and able to kind of expand on that as well. So the last thing is just to talk about not disconnecting from our emotions, because when we do that and we bottle it up, so if we disconnect and say, I don't want to feel hurt, I don't want to feel pain, so I'm just going to shut down completely, well, then we miss on some amazing things that can happen. And especially with emotions of when you go through tragedy, and then when you come out on the other side and you can see blessings around you, man, you don't want to disconnect yourself from that. You want to feel that happiness and joy again. And I know you're fearful, but I don't want you to give up. And trust me, there are blessings that come through the trials, through the pain, and you will feel peace again. You will feel joy. But that comes from not just going inward, not disconnecting. It means moving on. Not that you forget your child, but you move on in the sense of, I'm not going to let this tragedy define me. I'm not going to lose hope. And my prayer for you is to never lose that hope. My prayer for you is that you don't disconnect completely from people and your emotions and activities. And I really hope that this video just kind of gives you a boost of encouragement. Again, know that everybody goes through these type of things, these situations after we lose a child, and the grief that we feel. So I just really encourage you to take some of the things I said, and hopefully that helps. And again, if you need prayer, if you need to talk with anyone, please send me an email at fathershope@gmail.com, and we can just have a dialogue. Otherwise, subscribe to this channel or comments you put in the video below. But again, I just want you to know how much I care about what you're going through. And even though I don't know you personally, I know how difficult of a situation this can be. So I really hope you got something from this video today. And again, thank you for checking out the channel, A Father's Hope. Again, I'm Jonathan, and thanks for watching, guys. Bye.